Welcome to the American Forked podcast.
Was that an echo or like a Beetlejuice thing?
It was like a new catchphrase that I just made up.
That sounds like we're going to revisit.
Welcome to. You get it?
Nope.
Oh, it's like getting your attention, making you think that your brain is skipping.
I just said I don't get it.
Oh, all right.
Let's do a podcast.
Okay. So on this podcast, we're fixing America because America is forked. And who better to fix it than a bunch of guys who are from American Fork, Utah.
Who like to fix things.
Yeah, who like to fix all the problems in the world by
just talking about
genius. Yeah, we talk about it.
And then it's fixed.
Yeah.
Done.
It's such a good concept. I don't know why anyone didn't think about this before.
We're going to be famous.
Yeah.
If it works.
Anyway.
4 listeners at a time.
Yeah. 4 listeners at a
generous.
time.
Damn, Trent's doubling our listeners.
Yeah, so we got a good crowd today. I'm Phil. I'll be your spirit guide on this journey. Across from me is Jeff.
Hola.
And next to me is Jake.
Yeah, that's true.
And Trent is here.
Hello.
And we have a guest on, Dakota.
Howdy.
Hey, we're glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm excited to ask Dakota all kinds of questions later.
For the record, I am not from American Fork.
Oh, that's okay.
And I actually do not like American Fork.
Wow. Yeah, we're going to start
What is there
the
to not
podcast
like about American
this.
Fork?
I get it.
But he did a job in American Fork last week.
Yes. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I don't like American Fork.
Oh, this
Every
hatred
time
started last week.
It started maybe 12 years ago when I started doing tree work in American Fork. It's actually just anything
South of the point?
South of the point. It just gets... It turns into a different dimension, if you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll get
Cross
into
through a portal when you go through the point.
Yeah, you do. A Mormon portal.
The Zion Curtain.
Well, we'll get into more of that later.
We're going to talk about Mormon buttholes.
We actually are talking about Mormon butthole. Believe it or not.
I 100% do not believe it, so no.
Okay, you don't believe it, but
Here it comes.
Here it comes. So we usually start out with some American Fork news, and American Fork is kind of in the news in a big way, which I don't know if you guys know, but Hulu has a series on now called Under the Banner of Heaven. Have you guys heard about this or seen it or whatever?
I saw something.
It's about the Lafferty murders that happened in American Fork in '84. Do you guys know about that? Are you familiar with it? Or
No.
So the Lafferty murders...
I'm going to go on record, though, and say the Lafferty murders sounds like a comedy act.
So the Lafferty murders are these 2 brothers in American Fork who pretty much went crazy and murdered their sister-in-law and her baby in their house. And this was in 1984. So this is around the time we were all born.
That was before murder was invented.
Yeah. It's one of the few homicide, like capital murder cases that there have been in American Fork, like in decades.
Surprise.
So,
wow, really?
What do we have to claim to fame? Like Ted Bundy lived there for a week and a half or something like that?
He drove through.
Oh, that was actually...
he lived down by Beanboro.
No, I thought it was Salt Lake that he lived.
He was, but he lived...
The house right off, you could see it from I-15 crossing.
Yeah, he had some stuff up here,
It's on the wrong side
too,
of the
but
tracks over there.
yeah,
Anyway.
where the part of town no one cares about.
It's the other side of the tracks.
That's where the serial killers go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know where these Laffertys would have lived or anything about it. And you guys really haven't heard anything about it?
I really don't know.
I know about it, but I don't. I will learn 10 times more than I know when I watch the show.
Yeah, you could watch that show on Hulu. It's actually kind of fascinating to watch, except that they don't ever mention that it's American Fork. Like,
come on.
That's where everything is happening. Like
That's the best part.
The policemen and all that, like it's all taking place in American Fork, but they never say the name of the town. But it's very heavily focused on like Mormonism and this connection. They think that all this violent tendency of Mormons in their history are why these 2 suddenly murdered this girl and this baby. It's interesting.
Sounds awesome, Phil.
Oh.
Sounds like a family time.
Anyway, American Fork is famous right now, so
Apparently
shows
not.
on the shows. Well,
They don't even mention American Fork. None of us even know what you're talking about. I don't know where you're getting this famous thing
I'm
from.
just telling you, if you watch that show, it's,
then it's
based
famous.
in American Fork for reals.
Okay.
Did they film it there?
I don't think so.
If you've watched it, then you should be able to be like, yeah, I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, I recognize Utah. You can see the mountains in the background, but then they're like definitely up in like Montana or something in the woods. Like I'm like, that's not in Utah, wherever they are right now.
Well, you know what they call it, Montana, northern Utah.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, good.
I think that's on their license plate.
It's Idaho too.
Anyway, spreading out to some Utah news. Utah has an at-large fugitive named Kevin Chico.
Is this the butthole story?
No. Oh, the butthole story. I forgot. So,
We've been
Yeah.
waiting. Like that's
I've
what
been
we
waiting
came
like
for.
3 minutes.
So these Lafferty brothers were obviously crazy. And when the guy was, years later, when he's like on death row, he has a hearing with the judge and he's like swearing at the judge and calling him a what, blank, 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 whatever. And he came into the courtroom
Dressed as a butthole.
with a sign on his back that said exit here with an arrow pointing down to his butt. And he told the press it was because he was worried that Angel Moroni would enter his rectum while he was out and about. So you laughed at me when I said I had a butthole story.
That doesn't sound much more crazy than just the Mormon religion as a whole.
Oh, well,
It's very,
Can you
very adjacent.
explain as a whole?
Yeah, no, it's not that crazy in comparison to your I
Whole.
knelt down in the forest belief.
Whole.
Yeah,
I thought it was
We
crazy.
teach over the pulpit murder and stuff like that. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty.
angels
Par for the
entering
course.
your butthole.
If they can enter you, like, oh, they can just go inside you. Why not through the butthole?
I didn't know they could go inside you.
What about the dick hole?
Yeah, see, Dakota, fucking yeah.
Yeah.
Angels are way
I like
bigger
him.
than that.
Bigger? No. I guess
Yeah, they're human
Maybe
size.
he's got a huge dick hole.
demon in your dick hole. Yeah.
Anyway,
Demon.
thanks for reminding me about the butthole story.
You bet.
You're welcome.
I'm super
Of-
happy that we
anytime.
were going to edit this out.
Anything.
Why are we editing it out?
I'm assuming you
It's a
want people
family
to be
podcast.
entertained.
It's a family podcast.
Oh,
E for everyone.
E for adults.
For everyone, I believe so. Yeah.
Utah has an at-large fugitive named Kevin Chico, wanted for a history of menacing, threatening behavior. And when I read about this guy, have you guys seen? You guys have seen Breaking Bad.
Nope.
Yep.
Jeff, what is the matter with
Is
you?
it animated?
Do you not watch anything?
It's cartoon Disney.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen it then.
Yeah, let me show you. Oh, I have to enter a thing.
It's about a math teacher.
You're serious.
I know what it's about.
A math teacher.
I've even watched a
professor who-
Mythbusters episode about the machine gun that comes out of the trunk. That might be a spoiler alert. I don't
Anyway,
know.
there's a character on there called Tuco, who this guy reminds me of. I guess he's kind of nuts, and he threatened like a whole Best Buy with like a pair of pliers after he stole some headphones or something like that.
Wait, this is the guy in Utah?
Yeah, he's in Utah.
Oh, okay.
So there's this. Well, see, I don't know if this is him or this is him. Looks like that's him right there.
Chico is on the
This
bottom
is super good to listen to.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is him or that's the guy, but it looks like that guy over there.
I'm
Now you guys don't get
describing
it.
a Latino guy who, in one picture, has a little hair, in another has no hair, and he's.
This is
not the
also,
same guy.
Is
this
that the same guy?
No.
I don't think
It
it's the
isn't.
same guy.
So why do they have both those pictures?
What do you mean
You can have
people?
multiple pictures of other people on the same webpage.
It looks like it's the same guy.
No,
Phil,
No,
this is
it doesn't.
This is a podcast. They can't even see pictures.
Oh well, they can imagine.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
You can make up anything you want. You can say he looks like anything.
He looks like a Mormon butthole.
Yeah. See. Look, I'm pulling it up. There he is.
No one cares,
There
Phil.
he is. There.
No, look at the
sexy.
crooked face.
Yeah, look at him.
I do think there's a.
he's getting more and
like
more
a-
sad for
that
every image.
I do think most of these. So there's one in there that doesn't look like him, right? That one. But all the rest. But maybe that is
Maybe
him.
that's not. Let's go back over.
That's the one that looks like Tuco, right? from
He's kind of got the
Breaking
same
Bad.
note. Like his face
Yeah,
is
if you look
crooked.
at his like crook in the lip.
Also, his neck tattoo is the same in all the
Look
pictures.
at the,
Oh,
the
yeah.
scar.
I'm gonna say maybe it actually is him.
See? So there he
It
is.
is a neck tattoo, huh?
Anyway, Tuco from Breaking Bad is out and about.
He got a lot more hungry in a couple of those pictures.
Yeah.
He looks like all of our friends.
So if you see him, and I'm just saying, you should know. Wait, what'd you say? You look like you just made a funny joke that I made.
For all the listeners, if you see this guy,
Yeah.
He's got a neck
Tackle him.
tattoo on the right side, and he's probably threatening you with a pair of pliers or a hammer or anything like that. So
What's the brand of pliers?
Shouldn't you call that in no matter what? Like if some dude's threatening you with a hammer, whether he's Tuco or not.
I don't know. Some people
Probably
are
an
probably
issue.
like, "Oh, I got to get home and feed my kids." Some people don't report things; they
That's
just
true.
keep going about their
You
day.
get threatened at Home Depot with a hammer, someone's gonna beat the shit out of you, and you're like, "Fuck it, it's 5:30 and dinner's on at 6."
You'd be surprised. People are like, "I don't want to deal with that. I don't want any blowback from it. Just want to smooth on
they'll
through."
take out their phones and film it.
Yeah, or they'll film it.
Or take a herd
And
turd
instead
in
of
their
calling
bed.
the police, call the press. But don't you get it?
No.
Yep.
Okay.
So a guy committed a crime. Next story.
Is
Did
this-
you want us to read that, or are you going to read that?
No, that's the wrong thing.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we just started cruising the internet. He's just now going through his story online.
News.
It
Utah.
doesn't work out as well when you guys can see what I can see, because then you can make fun of the way I think and how I type on buttons. And things.
100%. I think it helps out a lot.
You tried to query by hand writing something on a piece of paper.
Anyway, the internet's too slow to. Oh, here it goes. So this guy was just killed in Florida. He's a Utah native. His wife's from Utah.
Is that the murderer?
No, I think that's the guy that died.
No, the little girl next to him.
Oh, nope. So apparently he dropped some other kids off at an ex-wife's in Florida, drove around the corner, and there's a tire in the middle of the street. Stops to get out and move the tire and gets gunned down. Dies. His daughter's sitting in the car. She sees daddy die. And they're asking people in Utah, for some reason, if they know anything to say something. He's driving this truck, which is like 2004 to 2008 F-150, a blue one with like a gray bottom. What do you call that bottom, Trent? The
Trim?
The trim, the gray trim bottom.
What? Why is the reward 55,000? Like that's just a weird number.
I don't know. I don't know how rewards work. Maybe you have to come up with the money and give it to the police and be like, this is how much we can do.
Regardless of
I
if
don't know.
they catch him or not, the only thing out of the stories you can get is don't get married.
Oh, yeah. That's true, because if he wasn't married, he wouldn't be dropping kids off.
No,
I would
wouldn't have-
think that
he wouldn't have got
you
divorced.
shouldn't move the tire. Don't get out of your car
Oh,
and move shit
yeah,
out of the
it's a
middle of the
trap.
road.
especially in
Sound-
Florida.
I was gonna,
Yeah.
First thing I thought was, it sounds
Yeah.
like a gang move.
Yeah, it does sound like a gang
Well,
move.
no,
because
gangs don't leave tires. Gangs
was a-
steal
It
tires
was a
and then they
gang
just run off.
initiation.
Well, they might have seen the child and been like, "Oh fuck, we out."
We screwed up.
Yeah. Oh, screw. Fucked it up. Yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah,
Straight
they're,
up.
they're saying they think
They don't want to fuck with a
they
kid.
think he was personally targeted.
Oh,
Is he married to Amber Heard?
And going to
but
the
that
gym.
might be the thing, though, Trent. Or
Amber Heard.
Trent.
Amber Turd.
Is this related to the first story?
Yeah, like because of all the violence.
The Leatherhead murders?
Yeah. Anyway, so if you see this truck or know anything about this guy, I should say his name or something, right?
Literally, this is the second story that 100% relies on like visuals.
Jared Bridgen.
Bridigan.
He's dead. So that sucks.
The problem wasn't that he was married; it was that he was divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter how miserable you are, you never divorce.
You cannot get divorced if you don't get married.
But you still
Right.
but you still can have children, right?
no.
Yeah.
So
I don't
you
think you can.
So in theory he'd still be dropping his kids off.
No, if you're not
with-
married to the girl, you're not coming back to pick them up again. That is not your burden.
You only drop them off once.
Right. Yeah, you drop that load one time and it's her job to pick the load up the rest of it.
Trent has girls that are like, "Hey, I need child support." And he's like, "Oh, we were never married. Sorry."
Yeah. Meet you in court.
Anyway, I don't know why, but for some reason, all the stories I picked up had to do with like violence and police.
Terrible deaths
But,
and horrible murders.
But the next one, I'm hoping you guys. Why did the thing turn off, Jake?
I don't know because it likes to.
I still don't think that visuals are necessary on this podcast.
I do, because then we can all look at something and understand.
And then the
it
listener
together.
can't.
Yeah,
That's
but
a good idea.
they can hear how we're
the
understanding
picture.
something together.
Oh.
You know what I'm hearing? We
What?
need cameras. This needs to be a TV show that we can put out there, and
Oh yeah.
so that no one can watch or listen to either.
American Fork Podcast on after Fox and Friends.
7 views
Right.
and counting.
On
Can you do
HBO.
it like that 70s show where they have a camera in the middle that just like rotates?
That would be cool, actually.
We can do like we can have commercials from Girls Gone Wild. You remember you just fall asleep when you were 17 and wake up to a Girls Gone Wild video at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
On channel 22.
Yep.
I didn't have 22.
Oh.
You were rich. I was poor.
His didn't go past 13.
You didn't have cable?
Trent's
No.
didn't go past 13.
Trent,
Shut the fuck
Fox-
up. It went to 14.
Oh, 14. K-Jazz.
Yeah, hell yeah, it did, son.
Anyway, I'm hoping. I've heard a little bit about this story. This is national news. I hope you. I hope you guys know more about it. But there was this inmate that somehow kidnapped his.
Oh, yeah. Alabama?
Yeah. So this fugitive. This fugitive was just caught Monday, following a high-speed pursuit. And with a corrections officer. So this inmate and this corrections officer take off together.
Which was a male inmate and a female corrections officer,
Yeah.
right?
And they're saying the girl was not like in on it.
No, I think she was.
Okay.
I think it was something like they were going to
Oh, that's a cute couple.
like
That is a
like maybe they were
perfect couple.
married or something.
You know what you say about a guy with big ears, right?
You can hear a lot.
See, Dakota can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh.
No, I'm just saying a guy with big ears can hear a lot.
Yeah. He needs big
So I'm going to
headphones.
say the guy on the left looks like the guy from The Office. What's his name?
does.
Oh, Jim, like an older Jim.
Jim from The
Halpert?
Office, but
looks like
criminal
a-
Jim.
Yeah.
Older Jim
basically.
Halpert from Wish.com.
Yeah.
The one from the right, the lady is a bleach blonde. I don't know. It kind of looks like one
Angela
of our,
from The
one of our
Office?
friends.
Oh,
Yep.
I
Anyways,
guess so. Anyway, so they left together. I think under a legitimate pretense, like she was taking him to
a conjugal visit.
something like a psych evaluation or something.
Pick up a tire in the road.
And then they just took off, and they caught him, and then she killed herself
what?
before they could take her. So,
Why?
I don't know. It's a weird thing, but they were like there was like a manhunt for him in the last couple weeks, and then they just
Well, how'd
found
they
him.
catch her?
She was
killed herself.
dead.
Yeah, they didn't. She died.
She just shot herself or something?
Yeah, I think they caught maybe the two of them, and instead of her letting them take her, she killed her. Presumably shot herself.
Do they know
That's
that
nice, though.
he didn't
because we
shoot
don't
her?
have to prosecute her. We don't got to keep her in jail. That's awesome. More people should kill themselves before going to jail,
Before being charged with anything?
regardless if they're guilty or not. Yes.
As soon as the police like knock on your door, bang.
Yep. You get pulled over for being a good Samaritan, just shoot yourself.
Child support backlog. Bang.
Oh, that is terrible.
Yeah, she probably killed herself because she felt so bad. I mean, if you read right here, it says, before the escape, Singleton described Vicky White as an exemplary employee. So if she had like a perfect record, generally probably a pretty good person.
She was really embarrassed.
Probably what happened is she had like some sort of trauma bond to this guy, and then he fucking used that
What?
against her.
What do they call it?
Yeah.
Munchausen or something?
Yeah,
Munchausen
well,
syndrome?
like, yeah, she probably had daddy issues, and he was her daddy,
Right.
like, in a way, and then she.
I like
he
the positive
convinced-
spin on this. I've never thought about life in the same fashion.
No, this
I like
is exactly how this worked. So then she ran away with him, and then she realized what the fuck she did because he ended up being a piece of shit, and then she knew that she made a big mistake, and because she's such a good person, she couldn't own up to that,
couldn't
so she
face
had
the
to kill herself
potential
in order.
consequences.
Yeah, because
I feel like I've
it was
literally
too
dated
great.
this girl. She realized this is a tragic mistake way too late. Probably should just kill herself
Yeah, this
instead.
is 90% of relationships in America right
This
now.
is 100% of every relationship I've ever
Yeah.
had.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's a thing. It's a big thing for sure.
Where at the end of the relationship, the girl tells you, "I would rather be dead."
than have any of my family know that I was with you.
Or-
yeah, of course.
Or maybe he killed her.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think they were
Suicidal
together
way.
at that time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But she's dead. I guess we should not be.
Maybe they heard that she looked like point. Is it really assisted suicide?
Shouldn't have said.
Sucky. Shouldn't have let him out.
My theory is that she's a huge Office fan. So she found the guy closest to Jim, and she thought that she was Pam, and they ran away together. It just didn't end up the way that they thought it would.
He
That's
does look like a street Jim. Instead
Yeah.
of being like a nerd Jim, it's like
You could
you
find
could
him.
get good drugs from him.
You could find him on Hollywood Boulevard, like next to Spiderman and Captain Jack Sparrow,
You
like
were-
in a suit, signing Jim.
with a
getting
cardboard
pictures.
sign.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Anyways,
anyway, they caught him, and she's dead. So sad.
What did he
ending.
have to say?
I don't know.
He said he doesn't wish any ill will on her, and wished that she would have survived.
Of course. She risked her life so that he could possibly potentially be free.
He shot
Yeah,
her.
I was
He killed her.
hoping. I thought this was in the news a lot, so I thought maybe you guys would hear more about it.
I hadn't heard.
I
At
do
the end of the
not
interview,
watch
though, he's
any
like-
news.
yeah, at the end of the interview, I think he was like, I'm moving out of Scranton.
Yeah. I hate this place.
Quitting the office.
I'm going up to what's that other?
Even though
town?
I'm on death row. I'm out.
What's the other town they go to
I
all
don't
the
know.
time in the office?
I've never seen The Office.
Not Poughkeepsie, something. Anyway, on to our main event. Boom,
Thank
boom,
God.
boom.
I'm just going to go on record right now. Your stories were depressing.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
even
that
know
was
why.
that was very
I don't
bad.
know why they all ended up that way, but it was like murder, threatening with pliers,
Mortar.
Suicide.
suicide. Yeah.
Yeah.
and rectums.
And sorry, before this, last week you guys were missing me. I know.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. And you needed an expert on abortion.
Oh, that's
You
right.
were gone?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're an expert on abortion?
I mean, I've only performed it a handful
Do you
of
need
times.
one done?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, my butt.
He's got Moroni up.
Yeah.
No, I just remember that you knew what the dates were. Like
Yeah,
the weeks or whatever.
So a fetus
what
can
is it?
survive 22 weeks, I believe.
So right now the law is 22 weeks. Is that what you're
I don't
saying?
know.
No.
What is the law?
The youngest.
The law was like 15 weeks, and then unless there's something weird, and then they're trying to take it down to like 2.5 minutes.
This is the Utah law.
No,
right?
I think Texas just lowered it to 15. I want to say that the national law is like 22 or something. I thought you knew.
No, all I knew was that there's been discussion on. There's a term that they use. It's coming back to me. It's called. It's basically the ability for a fetus to live on its own. Like at what
Viability?
point? Yes, viability. But that number has constantly changed since Roe v. Wade. It's moved back. Like as
Well,
medical
as technology gets better, yeah.
better, the babies can be born earlier and still survive. So at this time, it's to like 22 weeks. There's a set of twins that were born after 22 weeks, and they survived. And before, I think when Roe v. Wade was around, it was like 26 or something like that. So it's creeping back, basically.
24 weeks.
There you go.
So viability, I think right now is 24 weeks, according to Encyclopedia Britannica.
That's 6 months.
Why don't we
Is
just
that
put birth
crazy?
control in the water, and then we just put whatever, like every kid has to be like birthed in a petri dish or grown or whatever.
I just wanted to say I'm not the abortion expert, but thanks for trying to label me as that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, in my absence.
I just remember like a lot of podcasts ago, we were like,
I
how
actually
many weeks?
researched something.
And you were like, this many.
yeah.
Like you knew something for once.
so that made me the expert.
So I was hoping to have you on.
No.
But anyway.
it wasn't.
So I don't think anything's come of that, right? All we know is there's this leaked document.
Yeah.
Looks like the Supreme Court is gonna
Well,
shut it down.
The Senate just tried to pass a bill legalizing abortion nationwide. I don't know the details behind the bill, but it was
So now, and I was thinking about this, like, it could very well be that the Supreme Court was like you had some justices that were like, let's do a draft on
Yeah.
if the case goes this way. Let's do a draft on if it goes this way, so we can
Right.
read them and talk about it. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen
Yeah.
Yeah.
in theory. But
Well, I know that the Supreme Court is meeting for the first time since that leak tomorrow, so we'll see what.
I think the Supreme Court should just have a Twitter account and just release everything in 140 characters, and so everyone can understand it.
like everything they do.
Yep.
Like when they come in, just came in, sat down,
Yep.
Every bill should be 140 characters
Yep.
or less.
had a bagel from around the
Having a
corner.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Having meeting now. We're
Yeah.
all really old.
Yeah, we're all.
Why is there so much sausage in this room?
My thumbs hurt.
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Sorry to derail you.
No, that's fine because that's some good national news. I didn't hear anything from Trent on abortion other than everyone should
Super
be
pro.
aborted.
What is the church?
I think that whether, like, if you even take away the, like, I don't know, what is that word? Whether it's right or wrong, it would
Yeah.
be stupid to make it illegal.
Yeah,
the moral aspect of it.
Yeah, if you took away the moral aspect, like,
Even with
whether
the
or
moral
not,
aspect.
like, it doesn't really matter what you think, but if we make it illegal, a lot of people are going to end up hurting themselves really, really bad. And we've seen that in the history where, like illegal,
botched.
botched
You mean-
abortions,
yeah, they'll
back
still do
room.
unsafe
oh, yeah,
ones.
Yeah,
Well, even if it is wrong,
They still
rich
do it.
people are still getting abortions.
Right.
This
Oh, yeah.
only hurts poor people.
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't do anything else. If you have money, you're going to be able to make it happen.
Oh, for
Doesn't
sure.
even fucking
Right.
matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's true, and I agree with that a lot. I think the whole drug issue is largely the same with legalizing drugs, because you're saying with drugs being illegal, you're saying, oh, if we legalize them, people will use them more. But I don't think that's necessarily the case.
No.
It's going to happen either way.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just making criminals out of a certain
people,
class
yeah.
of
The good thing is, like,
the public.
in Oregon, you have a pill. You can take it into a little store, and they'll crush that pill and be like, okay, this is a safe pill. This is really what it is. You don't have, like, fentanyl laced drugs because you can go, like, see what it really is.
Yeah, I was just watching on the news too that in some state, I can't remember where, they've mass produced like millions of these kits that they're handing out on the street to test drugs for fentanyl. And some people were like up in arms saying, "Oh, we shouldn't pass that out. That encourages people to do drugs or whatever." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
Yeah,
that-
that's so stupid.
We don't need
Yeah,
encouragement.
that's-
We're doing them.
That's not
Yeah.
a
Right. It's
Good
like when they
argument.
pass out
That
clean needles.
encourages people to do
Yeah.
drugs. Like,
Yeah.
what about the CIA that, like, gives all the drugs to the people?
Right? Yeah.
You
It
know,
passes
like-
them out in, like, poorer parts of the world.
exactly.
Not a conspiracy.
Why are we talking about abortion for so long? Didn't you talk about it for like an hour last week?
Yeah, you're the one that brought it up.
Yeah, and
I was
I
like
stopped talking about it.
sailing into the next topic. and
I
you
brought
were
it up to
like,
clarify. You made it sound like I was some kind of back alley abortion doctor, and I'm not.
Jeff Gosnell.
I knew
Not-
I knew one piece of information, and you guys thought I was some sort of god. I'm not.
Oh.
So
You got to run with it next time, Jeff.
I probably should.
Yeah, you can't defeat yourself like that.
Just spit out facts.
What's the guy from The Simpsons, the botch doctor? Hi, everybody.
Oh yeah.
Dr.
I'm
Nick?
Dr. Nick
Dr. Nick.
Riviera.
Have you ever watched that show, Botched?
Nope.
Oh,
Is that what gets botched in this show?
plastic surgery. So they're like, yeah, I went in to have my nose done, and now their nose is like sideways.
Is this with Gordon Ramsay?
I don't think so. But
Dr. Gordon Ramsay?
It's with these two plastic surgeons, and they like look at
Oh, that
people.
makes more sense.
And some of them I felt so bad for because this one lady came in and her face was like destroyed, like, and her nose. I think she didn't have a nose or something. Like she did so much surgery, and the surgeons looked her over, and they're like, "We're really sorry, but we don't even want to touch you. Like you're so."
You
They
look
pretty
like
much
you have
said you're
leprosy."
so messed up that like trying to fix something could kill you. Like it was
Damn.
crazy.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
People
bad.
do that to
Yeah.
themselves.
I
Yeah.
can't believe that it's such a big industry.
Plastic surgery.
Oh yeah, it's massive.
I don't get it either. I'm on the page of like I can't remember what comedian was saying this, but why don't people wait until they actually figure it out before they do it? Like meaning like
like medically till we figured it out?
yeah, because it never works good.
No,
Like,
it
when
works good.
No.
Yeah, it
Haven't
does.
you
You know how
seen-
I know
Oh, yeah.
that? Because Utah is one of the number
Because they keep
one
going back.
plastic surgery consumers, I guess.
Well,
you could
and when
say.
I say works good, I'm talking about the face. Like usually, and
A
this
lot
is,
of it you don't even know.
That's what I'm saying. You
Well,
don't
and then-
even know it's there. That's how good it is, Phil.
and
It's
if that's the
insane.
case, then I'm all for it. I'm talking about like celebrities who do it, and it's like, what did you just do? Your face
Yeah,
looks
there's people
worse
that
now.
no, but you got to
Yeah.
understand when you see that surgery that made the person look worse. That's probably their 30th surgery.
Oh, maybe
they're
that's
not.
why.
They're not. It's not their first one, and Nick Riviera effed them up. It's they're well down that road.
I don't know. Even like the collagen and the lips or whatever. Like, my wife will show me people on Facebook and stuff, and I'm like,
Right.
why did you do that?
Usually,
It just-
when a celebrity gets or had surgery, I guess maybe it's because it was a long time ago. Now, when they're old, you're like, they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
They look
starts,
terrible.
Starts showing.
Yeah.
The only plastic surgery I ever considered getting was add some dick to me.
An Axel what?
Add some dick to me.
Oh, what is that?
Add some dick to me.
I don't understand.
It's called add some dick to me.
But what does that mean?
It's just it's a
An
procedure
enhancement
Yeah.
procedure
where they
to
add
make you larger.
some dick to me.
Oh,
Because he doesn't have any.
how do they do that?
This is the crap I have to deal with.
I don't think that's a real procedure.
No, but it's a funny name.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyways,
Anyway, on to our main topic for the evening. Dakota is here with us.
Oh, no.
You don't need to feel ashamed or embarrassed or nervous because we're going to have a good time. So, as I understand, Dakota, you are a tree guy.
Yes,
Is
that's
that
right.
is that the right
That's the right term.
label for you?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about what you do.
I cut down trees and then I clean them up.
And you do this.
now hold on. In that order,
It's
you don't
exactly
clean them
what.
up first and then cut them down.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah.
And you do this
following.
primarily in Utah.
Now I'll do it nationwide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you travel all over.
Yeah. I've been in, I think, 42 states.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Seriously, wow.
Yeah.
God, how many states are there?
There's 50 in the United States.
Do some of the states just not have trees?
And then it depends on like state of being.
But
There's
why
a
not the
lot
other
of those
8?
states too?
Oh, a state of being.
Yeah.
So
So not only have I cut trees in 42 states, I've also cut trees in maybe like 10 different states of being.
States of
like
mind.
Mental
angry.
states.
Yeah, exactly. Mental,
Mental
states.
states,
Yeah.
too.
Sad sometimes when I've done it.
10 times 42. God, you've been
Yeah.
four. Yeah, that's a lot of states.
420.
so
400.
Yeah.
but you live in Utah, is that right? You live
Yes. Yeah, I live in Salt Lake.
and were you born and raised here? Or
No, I was born in California.
California.
Yeah,
Okay.
LA, but I don't like to
Yeah, I'm sorry. about
let
that.
anybody know about that.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, we'll edit that out.
Yeah, definitely.
And how long have you been in Utah?
Well, I moved here when I was about 5,
Oh, okay. So
and then 4 or 5, something like that. And then when I was 14, 15, I moved to Tampa, Florida,
okay,
and then that's where I started tree work.
gotcha.
Became a tree guy. That was when I was like 19.
Okay.
Yep. And then I moved back here when I was 21. And then I've been here off and on for the last 12 years. So
And you were saying earlier that you have a beef with American Fork.
so it's not really American Fork
Oh,
so much
that's
as
right.
it is that valley.
Utah County.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lehigh
Yeah.
and South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you admit, though, when you go far enough south, it does get better? Like when you hit Santa Quinn.
Yeah. Once you get
Nephi.
past Provo,
Yeah.
it's a little better.
Yeah.
Spanish
Yeah.
Fork.
So
Spanish
Payson
Fork,
is
that's
where
right.
it starts to get better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I own property down in like Richfield, which is 2 hours
Oh, yeah. Okay.
from Salt Lake, an hour and a half outside of American Fork.
There you go.
So
That's where it gets good.
Yeah, driving down through Utah County is like a bell graph, right? It just the shittiness goes way high. You peak
Yeah.
around Linden, Orem area, and then it slightly gets better as
Well-
you go out.
Driving on the freeway, it's probably one of the most beautiful sights
Oh, it's
in
awesome.
Utah.
It is actually
like the mountains
amazing.
are. I mean, I think they're even better than the Salt Lake Valley ones.
I
Personally,
think Mount Timpanogos is my favorite mountainscape.
yeah,
You're talking about Utah Valley.
yes,
mountains, yeah.
yes. But once you start mingling with like the neighbors and the people who live there and like doing business with them, like shit gets really fucking weird.
Yeah?
really fucking fast.
Like,
yeah.
like, give us an example. Like what?
By the way, both these guys live down there. Go ahead though.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and Jeff was raised there. We were all raised there. So.
Yeah.
It's true.
So like you'll be cutting trees and then the neighbor will come out and they're just nosy and they don't have anything to do. So they'll bring their vacuum out and start fucking mowing the lawn. Just like watching the whole time, like with their vacuum, like straight up seen shit like that.
Like, who is this guy out here?
So you're saying the neighbors are more nosy down there?
Oh, way more.
That's so funny to me.
And then like people try to do down there. Like, oh man, this was probably 8 or 9 years ago. There's this guy named Richard Losey, and he like runs the Losey Jewelers down in Provo. Yeah, you've heard of them, right?
I have, because that's where I got my wedding ring, and they screwed up. I'll tell you about that.
He's probably going to sue me for saying this, but it was a long time ago.
Oh, you cut trees for him?
Well, I was just a laborer, more or less. I was like a contractor to cut trees, but then my friend was working for him, and he was like having my friend haul in dump truck after dump truck after dump truck of sand so he could get his backyard like perfectly level. And just like watching him go through this process and do down like on every check and just like it, it's just
painful.
You mean he was what do we call that?
Nitpicking, penny pinching?
Yeah, nitpicking and penny pinching.
What's the word that I
trying to get a deal?
Like he beat him up is what was what I usually call him.
Definitely
beat him up on pricing. So
beat him up.
So he comes in.
So that's generally the Happy Valley.
Yeah.
Like as far as tree work is concerned, is like you get beat up on your price.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I would say it happens to me more in Utah Valley than anywhere else. Which is typically like you agree on a price, you come and say, all right, I need the money for this. And then they say, oh, well, we want to pay this much now because this or whatever.
They think it's a choose your own adventure book.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. That's generally what I get out of Utah County work.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Now tell us, like, because you don't just cut trees down. You cut down.
He cleans them after.
You clean them also.
I clean them up.
Let's go into that process. How does it make you feel?
We pick up wood.
But these aren't
put
like
it in the trailer. Yeah, exactly.
But they're not just like 20-foot tall junipers or whatever. You cut down really big trees.
Yeah.
Near people's homes, near buildings.
That's
stuff like
generally my main, I guess, bread and butter is like big stuff, difficult, silly trees.
Yeah.
All the other tree guys are like, I don't want to do that.
All the rich guys are like, I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah, all the other tree dudes, Well, so my industry is interesting. It's like ever since social media got big, in the last 6 years, really, like Instagram and all that, you go and watch certain industries. Tree people is one of them, where it's like we all look so cool cutting down trees or doing these big, awesome things.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden everybody wants to be a tree guy. So that, as well as all of the people that have moved into Salt Lake Valley since, the last 5 or 6 years, the California exodus that's coming here. There's just there's probably been 100 companies that have opened up tree services.
100?
At least.
You're not exaggerating.
At least.
Wow.
Yeah. I bet you I compete with probably 1,000 to 1,500 companies or people that call themselves companies.
Right.
There's probably 150 of us that are like legit,
legal, insured
service, insured.
Yeah.
And that could be anywhere from like a guy in a truck and a trailer, with his little dude on the side, but they still carry insurance. That's what I consider legit. They work to, employ the latest techniques and technology that we have available as arborists.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's probably 150 of those, and then there's probably like 600, 700, 800 guys that are like landscapers that try to do tree work on the side.
Landscapers that have chainsaws.
Yeah, or just this, random meth head that has chainsaws that was on a tree crew one time.
Or doesn't have a chainsaw.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
A handsaw.
Yeah, or needs to rent one or needs to use your extension cord to cut the tree down.
Yeah.
I've literally gone onto job sites and the homeowner's like, y'all need to use our extension cords. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, for your chainsaw.
Are they full of diesel?
Yeah,
Because
it's like-
no is the answer.
Plug a heater into
for your
so I can keep
chainsaws. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, the last guy needed to use an extension cord for his chainsaws up in the tree.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, so that's like a lot of the competition that I'll run into. Those guys, it's not competition.
They
you know?
won't last.
Yeah, it's not competition.
Because you go fix their jobs.
A lot of times, yeah, exactly. But then out of those 150 guys, I'd say there's maybe 10 that will do big,
The kind
crazy-
of stuff that you do.
the kind of stuff that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's only maybe me and 2 other companies that will do it like perfect, no problems.
So this is your own company, you're saying.
Mhm.
Do you have
Yeah.
employees?
And I have one guy, but
One
it's
guy.
all just owner operator. I used to have like 10,
Yeah.
and at $500,000 in equipment and all this stuff. But it's not worth it in the long run for me because I'm in it for the tree cut.
Yeah.
I'm not really in it for like let's get big and make a bajillion $1 million because there's good enough money in it that I can do it
Just on your own.
just on my own.
So when
Yeah.
you go cut a big tree down, you're usually working just you and maybe one other guy.
Yeah, me and maybe 1 or 2 other guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And when you go cut a tree down, like what are you chipping it up? Are you cutting
Yeah,
up the
cleaning
wood?
it.
Yep,
Clean
chipping it, and then a lot of times we'll mill the wood.
Uh-huh.
Depending on what it is. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of trees we're cutting down are usually fucking just wrecked.
Right.
You know?
Garbage.
Just
Yeah, garbage,
weed
yeah.
trees, yeah.
Weed trees, or they're like all rotted out.
What is the tree of heaven? I hear it called.
Yeah, that's
Chinese
an
elm?
ailanthus. That the tree of heaven is really an ailanthus tree.
Those are terrible trees.
Yeah, they're horrible. They're Chinese trees. They're
Chinese elms, is that?
So Chinese elm is actually a Siberian elm, and
Okay.
it's all the big trees you see in Salt Lake.
Right.
Not all of them, but
A lot of
the
them.
majority of the big
And that's
trees.
the one that has the freaking billion seeds that
Yes.
blow down in
Yep.
the spring. And
And
Yeah.
someone's underneath it and farts and like twigs fall down.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly those come from Siberia, like the high plains desert,
Wow.
which is what we are.
yeah.
And if you go look at a lot of the Siberian landscape, it's very similar to here. And so that's why they do so well.
So
Um,
there's a situation where those are terrible trees, obviously, but do they keep you going and keep you in business? Like, is it a
Yeah.
love-hate relationship with those kind of trees?
Those trees, the elms,
There's
I love
like
them.
garbage
They're awesome.
trees
They're not garbage trees.
because they make you money.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I've cut one down at my grandmother's, and I built a sink out of it, actually.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed about the wood is it's very unstable. It tends to twist and warp.
Yeah. Yeah,
a
it is.
lot.
It can be. Yeah, you need to. Yeah, there's definitely a technique to getting that stuff dry
Yeah.
properly. Like you have to strap it down. You have to put a ton of weight on it.
Oh, okay.
You have to cut it really thick
Yeah.
and then probably resaw it later. You know what I'm saying? Like
After it's dried.
after it's
Yeah,
dried.
yep.
Yeah. So-
That's what I did. I dried it for I think 3 or 4 years, and then pretty much replaned it and everything. I think it's locked in pretty good. But
I don't understand. You
So-
made a sink out of wood.
I did. So, wood and like a wood and epoxy mix, but
Oh, okay.
wood. Some species of wood, like the one we're talking about, you'll cut it, fresh off the tree, and then it will over time
yeah.
twist or warp.
Yeah,
warp.
I've seen
And,
that.
and other species are a lot more stable. They'll
Yeah.
just
Right.
Yeah.
stay the way they are.
Yeah,
But-
the Siberian elm grain tends to like kind of turn as
Yeah.
it grows. So it's not technically like super straight.
yeah,
And so a lot of times when you cut those grains, like the grain will pull back. This as a woodworker.
yeah,
Like the forces of the tree will pull back this way or that way. And it's the grain trying to straighten out.
yeah.
That the Siberian elm is a super long grain wood. So that's why you get so much twisting is because those grains are so long and interlocked. They pull a lot. Get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like so. So yeah, you got to cut them real thick. you
Yeah.
know, and then just let them dry for a long time.
Yeah.
Or you can. There's this new like pressurized kiln
Mm-hmm.
where they like pressurize this chamber and then they put 150 degree, it's 150 degree air in it, but with pressurized as well, so the wood can't move. you know?
Interesting.
And so that's another good way to dry wood, but it's expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that it is. What when you say you mill the wood for your own use, or you sell it, or
Yeah, either one. Yeah.
either one. And so, what is like when you're milling wood? You're cutting the tree down. You're saving pieces. What are the largest? Like, how big can you cut? Is the question. Like,
Big as you can find.
So if a tree is 10 feet in diameter, can you cut a slab out of that, or like what?
I couldn't do a 10-foot wide slab.
Yeah.
But I could certainly get that tree into millable 6-foot slabs.
6 feet. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So like, and what I'm saying by a slab is like a single board out of a tree. Like,
Yeah.
Live ends on both sides.
Yeah. Like not something that was glued or laminated together, but right. You've got bark on both edges.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the viewers can't see.
Phil's really good at describing pictures that he doesn't
yeah.
supply.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay.
when he supplies
When I
them,
supply it, I just
he's
assume everyone
terrible.
knows what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Let me see.
Oh, and I'll bet you the way he could describe a slab of wood is probably fairly sensual. I'm just guessing.
Central, yeah. Okay, well,
Make it
don't get
AS
too central.
little
because my
ASMR.
daughter is in the photo.
Oh, here we go. So this looks like some walnut. Is that
That
right?
is elm.
Oh, is it elm?
That is elm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. So it's
Yeah.
really dark. So
Yeah,
the
it can be dark, yes.
the heartwood, is that
Yep.
right? Is a nice dark color. Looks like walnut. Actually, looks like it might be wet in spots, which is
It
why
is.
it's.
It is wet and
Yeah.
rained. Yeah.
But these are huge slabs. There's a little baby on there. I'll bet these are 40 to 46 inches
Yeah.
wide.
Those are 48.
48.
And they're 16 feet long.
16 feet long. And so, how do you cut that? Are you free-handing that with a chainsaw?
No,
How
I
do you
have a mill.
have a mill?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're taking the trunk down, and then
Mill
you're
with
taking
the
it.
saw or the a fixture that you run a chainsaw
No,
through?
so we have a portable, like, it's run like a chainsaw, but it's an actual Briggs and Stratton, like 23 horsepower motor.
And it's the mill. You're
The
saying.
mill, yeah.
Okay.
So you set up this cage around the log, this big cage, and then this then your mill motor with the big chain rolls on these rails around the cage, and then you can lift it and raise
And you're
it.
doing that on site, or you take it back to?
Depends
your
on the
yard.
log.
Okay.
You know, like if the log is too big to move, then we'll cut it on site with the mill,
Okay.
just so we can get it off the property.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, generally try not to do that because then people get nosy and then try to take my wood.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
The homeowner's like, oh, I want to keep that. here.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
Yeah.
keep that or just throw it away?
yeah.
Yeah. How does
I'm
that
in-
work?
If
I'm
if
in
I bring the
Alpine,
mill out,
so-
then it's mine.
Okay.
Right.
If my mill comes out, like that's mine. That was a $10,000 mill. You would not have this. You know, the other tree company will cut this up into little firewood pieces.
Oh yeah,
You know, and then ditch it. So
that's crazy.
But do you also, like, if I were to call you and be like, I want this tree, but I want the wood? Do you
then,
do that?
then
for
we'd
people?
work out a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just charge it hourly on the mill.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
and run it at the speed setting number 1.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not that person.
No,
I
I
don't
say-
like being places longer than I have to be.
No, I say that because at my grandmother's home in Provo, she has a walnut tree that my great-great-grandfather planted. It's probably 150 years old.
Wow.
And it's huge. It's probably at least 6 feet.
Yeah, we could mill it.
And it's beautiful. They've pruned limbs off it, and I've built furniture out of it, and it's just beautiful wood. But she won't let me cut it down. Maybe one day. But
It'll die, and then you'll cut it down.
Are you talking about grandma? It'll die.
and when it dies,
The tree.
when,
Oh, okay.
when you know it's time to cut it down or it's dead, it's just not going to have any foliage, right? It's
Most likely,
Yeah.
but you know, start paying attention to the tips of it. If they start dying out,
Yeah.
you know, that's a big problem.
so like the tips will lose their leaves, and it'll slowly work its way.
Slowly
in.
work its way in a lot of times.
Yeah.
Walnuts tend to rot, but not. Trees don't generally rot so much in Utah unless they're like next to a stream or something where there could be a lot of water in the air. But Utah's just so dry, everything turns to stone when it dies here.
What if they're covered in a vine, like thick vine?
Yeah, that can definitely lead to rot because that'll hold a lot of moisture in.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-oh.
So I mean, what you need to do is just have somebody inspect the tree.
Yeah.
Like, actually, somebody who knows what they're talking about. Actually inspect
and do you
it.
do that as well? Just like consultations?
Sure.
What do you charge to do that?
For a consultation?
Yeah.
$200.
$200?
Yeah.
Oh,
to
yeah.
assess your whole property.
That's
So,
worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole property.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's every
Dang,
tree.
girl.
Yeah, we got a lot of trees.
But that's an oral. That's an oral assessment. If you want a written assessment, it's like $500.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I just want you to come and look at the trees and,
Yeah.
and tell us what to do.
Yeah.
Or like what.
Well, and then if you want to, if you end up just having me do work, then I don't charge you anything to
Yeah.
assess, you know. And then,
Right.
But if you're just gonna like, come look at my trees and tell me all about them,
And
but
then
I'm
leave.
not gonna hire you, then you're gonna
You'll
pay
get a
me
bill.
a little bit, yeah.
And do you
So you probably get a lot of those in Highland and Alpine.
Yeah, that's like why I don't go out there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, well, I don't know. I grew up more or less in the 9th area, and so
Salt
I'm
Lake.
very familiar with, the Salt Lake vibe. My tree service kills it there. People
Yeah.
in Salt Lake are rich as fuck, and
You mean people from California in Salt Lake?
yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe I sound like a greedy bastard, but I just set my price for what's comfortable for me.
Yeah.
And then tell them what I'm capable of, which is like top tier. And so generally anybody who's calling me is kind of expecting me to do the work to
Right.
begin with. So,
Yeah.
but
that makes
you
sense.
know, and I don't have that same opportunity in the Happy Valley
yeah.
because there's just not that vibe there. It's not like even though all these people are from California, there is like this whole awakening. I don't know what the fuck it is, like shop local, be good to your neighbor type thing
Yeah.
that's going on in it's a big California vibe. And so like those guys have all brought that here. So they see a local guy that does local work, that lives in their neighborhood, cutting
Yeah.
down their trees.
They love it.
I don't need to leave Salt Lake at all. Like,
I have noticed
Sometimes.
that working outside of Utah.
unless it's for your friends, mom in American Fork,
Right.
cutting down big stupid trees that are getting knocked over by the wind.
Right. No, but I have noticed that outside of Utah in general, people, like you said, it's almost like people call you and they're like, yeah, I'm expecting to pay money instead of I'm going to call you and then I'm going to beat you up over this or this. And
Yep. Yeah, that's a California thing.
Yeah.
And that's why, in ways, I'm not complaining about all these damn Californians here.
yeah,
Because when they call you, they expect to pay you.
Yeah.
And they also want a good service.
Yeah.
And so when they know they found somebody that's going to give them a good, honest service, do what they say they will, and, and I'll even preface it, hey, look, this ain't set in stone. I could, put this tree right through your house.
yeah,
Like, that's why we got insurance, and we'll cover it.
I love that.
That's
so funny.
And we'll cover it. We'll
Yeah.
make sure it's covered, And that's all people really want. They just want to trust you. They don't care about the price.
right. And has that ever happened? Have you ever dropped a limb on a home or a car? Or...
Oh, I've definitely damaged things,
Yeah.
but I've never had to like make an insurance claim.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all,
I broke your window. Here's,
Yeah.
I'll knock $400
or
off.
fence.
Or
I
whatever.
broke your window. The contractor's on the way to fix it right now.
Yeah,
And then I just pay him out. And that's usually how it goes.
right.
Or bust
Yeah.
out some concrete with a crane.
Yeah,
Just like get my dude over. He'll put a new slab in for $500.
yeah,
And whatever. Like that happens a couple times a
Fences.
year. But
Well-
like I usually try to find a solution before I tell them. So it's
Right.
like, hey, look, we fucking blew out your whole fence, but I got my guy over at Home Depot picking out all the wood,
yep,
and we're gonna fix this thing right up. By the time we're out of here, you got a new fence and your tree's out.
yep.
And then they're like, oh, cool, and like that's what people want. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily care that your work is going to be the best or you're going to perform the best during the work. They just want to trust you,
Yeah,
and they want you to take care of their property in the long run.
right.
And the-
So other than taking a tree down and removing it, do you also like do care and maintenance on trees? Like
yeah, a lot of care and maintenance on trees that's sold it's all a scam. It's like it's similar to like how the medical field is. Like
Uh-huh.
they just sell you all these drugs that just kind of band-aid you,
yeah,
but really make you worse. So that's what most pruning is in tree work. It's
Does that
like,
go for fruit as well?
Depends on who's pruning your fruit trees. Like it takes some serious education to be able to prune a tree properly.
So you're saying that most people who come and prune, they're not doing it correctly, or it's not even
they're
needed.
doing it.
Yeah.
At all.
So you're saying pruning might not be necessary.
Pruning is in a large way, a lot of it's a scam.
Huh.
It's selling a service that's not needed. There's things that are needed.
Yeah.
Like, we need to make sure houses aren't being scraped by the leaves because that will rub your shingles off. It'll put holes in your roof over time. We need to make sure that things aren't getting interfered with the lines because then we won't have power.
Right.
There's certain maintenance aspects to trees that we do need to take care of. We need to make sure the big dead pieces aren't in your tree.
Right.
Because those will come crashing down. And then sometimes we will see that a tree is kind of growing particularly heavy on a branch. So it'd be a good idea to
lighten that up.
But beyond that, you're wasting your money. And really what you're doing in the long run is you're harming the tree. A lot of guys will come in and they'll just prune out the whole middle of a tree. And there's this thing called wind dampening. Or they'll prune out the neighbor's I don't like that branch, so let's cut it off.
Yeah.
And then the wind will hit that tree the next storm. And now that it doesn't have that branch there, the branches behind it, they're not used to having that branch gone. And so they're hit with a new force they've never experienced before, and their fibers aren't ready for it. And maybe it's just too strong a wind, the whole tree will fall apart. I've seen it happen so many times. And so that's why pruning really is a scam. It's a big, fat scam. Trees know what they're doing. They really know what they're doing.
Huh.
And
it's probably more about preparation of where trees are planted.
100%. Our work should be in where we're planting trees and then also how we take care of them while they're small.
Sounds like you're saying in most cases it's for safety.
In most cases,
to preserve
house
or a structure.
Exactly. It's really it's fitting the tree in our environment.
Yeah.
Because technically that's what this is, right? This cityscape, this is our environment, right? You want a tree to be a tree, you go out in the woods and a tree can do its thing. We're not in there interrupting it.
They're not naturally pruned.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is funny, which it goes back to placement. I see people too many times after in the construction world will build something for them and then they plant a tree 3 feet away. And you're
From
like,
a
what the
house,
hell are you doing?
Yeah, and then it'll get huge.
It's really cute right now that it's in your little garden strip, but in 20 years, and that's an interesting thing too. I think people plant trees, little trees, with the intention of pulling them out before they get too big.
Yeah.
You see that a lot too?
Oh, yeah.
That's so weird to me.
Well, yeah, it's like this one I'm talking about at my grandmother's. It was planted probably 25 feet from the house.
Yeah.
But now it's bulged up the concrete around it and everything. In theory, it's probably
trees have value.
Yeah.
They have value in our homes, in heating and cooling and all that. But as far as the way that we look at trees in the forest compared to the urban environment, we have to look at them more of an asset.
Yeah.
Here in the urban environment.
Right.
So if you were going to plant trees on your property in Utah, what would you choose?
Elms.
Elms.
Yeah, elms, yeah.
So not Chinese elms, but true
Siberian elms. Or there's a patriot elm or the American elm.
Yeah.
American elm I generally stay away from because they do have a pathogen that likes to kill them.
Oh, okay.
So a patriot elm is a hybrid of an American and a Siberian. Mixed together, and so it has the resistance to that pathogen.
And they do well in Utah.
They do very well. The elms do super well, and that's why I would suggest it. A lot of people they get big and crazy and out of control. It's what you do in the first 5 or 10 years of that tree's life will really determine how it's going to be when it's a big, large tree.
As far as where you plant it, how you prune it,
where you plant it, and what you're cutting off to let other things grow. Because you can really choose what you want a tree to look like.
Right.
If you maintain it every year, and if you start from when it's young, you can get an idea of how you want this tree to look when it's big.
Yeah.
And you can prune it and do it for the first 5 years, and then it'll just take off from there and turn into what you want.
Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah. I have a pretty important question to ask you.
Yep.
In Lord of the Rings, they have tree people.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts
on tree people?
They're called Ents.
The Ents.
I think trees do have a soul or some sort of entity that's backing them. And, you know, I don't think they can walk around.
My question was ridiculous, but your answer was great.
My father-in-law is an arborist. He's from upstate New York, and he's been doing it pretty much his whole adult life.
Cool.
And I was going to ask you a question like that. He's very much into the idea that plants can communicate to each other,
Yes,
and
they
trees
can,
have the ability to really, they can. It's like a network that they've got on their own wavelength of communication.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's proven fact. Like, yeah, they talk energetically or whatever it is, but they're in a whole nother dimension of communication, and they're all connected worldwide. Like trees, plants, all that shit. Worldwide, there's like a connection there. And I don't know exactly. I think it's The Life of a Tree or The Amazing Life of Trees or something like some book like that where it really explains it.
The Secret Life of Plants.
Secret Life of Plants, is that it?
No.
That is yes,
that is one of them. Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking
Or
about,
Secret
but that
Life
isn't
of
a
Trees.
film. I think it's
Maybe
talks
that's a
about it's a
film.
documentary of
Yeah.
some sort where
But-
it talks about that concept.
Yeah,
That was The
everything is-
Secret Life of Bees.
It's a Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, that's
It's a Disney show.
That also, but there is a Secret Life of Plants.
I'm
pretty
sure
sure
There's,
that's
there's
what it's
one
called.
specifically about trees where, yeah, I mean, there
Maybe it's
is,
tree anyway.
yeah, there's definitely something deeper than just some random piece of wood growing in the, in the yard or whatever. Like, there's definitely something very deep
Right.
about trees.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's been really interesting to talk to you, and I admit that my interest in trees, I guess, is like my interest in cows, where I see a cow, and I'm like, I don't care anything about this animal except for what the
that I'm going to
meat.
eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The steak.
And when I look at a tree, I'm like, oh, I bet that's got some good wood in it or something like that.
Yeah.
But
The way that I look at trees is like, ooh, I bet that would be fun to take down,
Yeah.
or like that would be hard. So yeah, it's no worries.
it'd be fun to.
I
cut
look at them
that
as objects.
Yeah.
Like, I do.
Dakota
He
is the
objectifies plants.
Yeah, I
Dakota
objectify
is
trees.
the
Yeah.
murderer, and Phil is the guy,
The mortician.
The mortician.
The
That's the word I was
mortician.
looking for.
That's nice. Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, so to change a little bit from trees before we end, on this podcast, we talk about like how America is so divided, and we're like trying to come up with ways, like what needs to happen to fix it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to ask our guests.
What?
It's kind of a big question, but what do you think needs to happen for America to come together a little more than it is?
I think that news, like any big news network, needs to go away. All of them,
Yeah.
completely. All these stories about murder and death and all that stuff, it needs to go away. Here's what I think. Here's like I'm just going to sum up my belief in
Sure.
life.
Yeah.
And then this will tie into how I think everybody can fix everything. It's pretty simple, actually. So there's like 3 or 4 physicists / brain surgeons, so maybe a mix of both, that discovered that reality has a lot more layers than you and I can perceive, right? Like there's a lot more going on right now in this room than we are aware of. And so our brains actually construct what is going on here and leave out a bunch of information.
Right.
So more or less, that it proves that we are simulating our experience here.
Right.
Right. This is a simulation from our own head. Right. And I can't say if your simulation is even real. This could be completely my simulation and you're just a part of it, or it could be reversed. It could be your simulation, or it's probably both. Right. But what you think is what becomes.
Right.
And so all these news cycles and medias is like, oh, war and high gas prices and pedophilia and murder and like, look what this guy did to this and this chick killed herself and like this fucking house caught on fire and like all this place. It puts everybody in this like hysteria and it puts everybody in this fear. And so now what we're all perceiving
Is that
and
reality?
creating is that reality of
Right.
fear. Right. And so it's just as simple as like we all need to stop listening to those fear-based narratives. I fucking hate that word because it's all
The
conspiracy
narrative thing.
theory,
Yeah.
But we need to get away from those fear-based things and just start focusing on the more positive things, and this shit will turn over like tomorrow.
Oh, we didn't even mention that you have like a nickname. Is that?
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
how-
Yeah,
that you go
so
by?
I guess that's how I like game my online following.
And what is your online like? What's your handle? Where do people find you?
On Instagram, I think you just type in Treesus Bartelby.
Treesus Bartelby.
Bartleby.
Bartelby.
Bartelby.
With a T.
Okay.
Bartelby.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about your business name? How do they find you to have a tree cut down?
Yeah, if you're in Salt Lake.
If you're not in Utah
Yeah,
County,
if you're not in Utah County.
Or if you're in Utah County and like to spend
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you just want a good service
Yeah.
at a fair price. That's what I offer. Yeah, integrated tree professionals. You just look me up on Google.
Okay.
Or you could look up Urban Oaks. I have 2 companies, but I mean, I had the Urban Oaks as an LLC, and then my mom convinced me to do like a incorporated or some shit.
S corp or something.
I don't even know why I have it, but now I have 2 companies, and they both give me a lot of business, so whatever.
Yeah. Integrated tree
Professionals. Yeah, or Insane Tree Posse.
Insane Tree
yeah,
Posse.
ITP. But you'll find me as Integrated Tree Professionals online. I got a
Okay.
website
I like
and all that stuff.
ITP.
Yeah, I like that.
ITP. Yeah,
I found out what my tattoo is going to be.
yeah dude.
It's a stick man running with a tree.
Yeah, we made the Logolo and everything.
Well, thanks Dakota for coming on.
Yeah,
we've
thanks for having
enjoyed
me.
having you. Anytime I can talk about wood with someone, I get excited.
Phil
So
loves his wood.
I really do.
Plays with it all the time. Makes some beautiful
Wait.
things out of it.
I sure do.
I love all your kids. What?
Kids?
I think Jeff and I get it, but
Yeah.
Go on.
wood,
You were ending a
creative
podcast
kids.
just then. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah. Okay. So thanks for being with us. This is American Forked. You can check us out on Instagram or something. And also check out our Patreon page where we post original music every week. If you donate to our Patreon thingy mabob, you can listen to it in its entirety.
last week's was Twitter is my teacher.
Oh, yeah.
The alternative rock music sounds a lot like Weezer.
Oh, yeah, the Weezer-inspired whatever. So this time we'll have a good tree cutting tune that's going to go a little bit like this. How can I tell you your time has come? Your leaves are sagging, your battle's won. I've really liked your shade and your oxygen too. The wind is changing. It's time for you to come down, 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 down. My chainsaw's ringing. I cannot hear the world through the scream of its sound. Get access to all of our original music at patreon.com/AmericanForked.